Hello. Thursday night. So it's been a week. So now, today I want to bring something interesting to this live stream. So in the past, video, you've been seeing my face and I've been telling you some story about my life and then some of the things that I learned. But I think today is kind of a different way for me to show you like a fun thing, a fun side of me. So let's get to it. So today I'm gonna give you one of the psychology tests. And first of all, I want to thank my sister because she told me this story a long time ago. I think first time I heard of it when I was in high school. And I used this story, quite a bit of time, with my friend and some people that I met. And the result is very surprising. And a lot of female friends, they're really interested in this type of psychology test. And, if some of you might want to join, feel free, answer the question. So the rule of this test is that you have to answer the question right away. You don't overthink the answer. Whatever comes to your mind, you just answer it right away. And bear with me. There's quite many questions, and toward the end, I'm gonna give you my interpretation of your answer, and gonna tell you more about your personality and what you value most in your life. So one thing I just want to make sure that you aware of is that. So when I ask this story, you have to put yourself in that situation, okay? There's no right or wrong answer. It's more about the situation that you're in and how you feel about it, how you react and things like that. So there's no right or wrong. Just answer as truthful as possible. And to make this psychology test more fun, I have another person who volunteered. I'm not sure if she volunteered. I asked her to do it. But anyway, she is going to be hidden from the camera. I won't show her face, but you will hear her answer. And it's kind of helped me, help you to kind of see how this test was presented. And I will also answer, I'm going to, give the answer to whatever she responds to. Okay, toward the end. So bear with me. There are quite many questions, and at the end, I think you're gonna like it. Okay, I would say 100% of the people that I ask, female usually, they really like this type of questionnaire. Okay, so let's get to it. All right. So first of all, picture yourself or imagine that you are walking through a forest, okay? And the sun is out, it's dark, it's a scary place. Now, look to your right and tell me, who do you see?
Tiger.
You see a tiger. Interesting. Have you heard this story before?
No.
Okay, that's fine. It's first time I heard that answer. Okay, tiger. All right, but anyway, you and the tiger, okay, you guys continue on your walk through the forest. And now you come across another animal, okay? What kind of animal do you see?
Elephant.
Okay, so you see an elephant. What is your first reaction when you see an elephant?
I said calm. I don't do anything.
Okay, so you see an elephant and you don't do anything. Okay.
Stay there.
Okay. So maybe you're not afraid of the elephant and it doesn't do anything to you. So you continue, and you walk deeper into the forest. Okay. And this time, after you're walking for like an hour or so, you come to a clearing. And now you see an area where people live. Okay. You can tell right away that people live there. What do you see? Tell me what you see.
I see a house. In front of house, have the body of water, like a lake or something.
Okay, so tell me about the house. You know, describe it. What does the house look like?
It's a big house
Okay,
around a fence.
there's a fence around it. Okay, so you kind of get ahead of myself. That's my next question to you. Do you see a fence or not? You actually jump ahead and answer my question. Okay, so you see a fence around the house, right? Which is interesting. I'll tell you the reason why later. Okay. Now, so you walk up to the door of the house, right? You go through the fence. You open the fence. You walk up to the door, right? You open the door. You enter the house. No one is there, so you're trying to kind of like look through the house, trying to see who's lived there. Okay. You walk up the stair. There's a stair right in front of the door, right? You walk up the stair. Look to your left. You will see a table. Describe what you see on the table.
There's nothing on the table.
Okay, so you don't see anything on the table. Okay, it means something, and I'll tell you why later. Now, you decide to look around the house, right? But you plan to go back toward the back of the house, right? So when you walk on the floor, you see a cup. What is the cup made of?
Metal.
Cup make of metal? Are you sure? Okay, that's the first time I hear that, you know, the cup is make of metal. Most of the time I hear is make of plastic or glasses or crystal, or, you know. Okay, make of metal. Make sure you remember your answer, okay? I'm not gonna remember all of your answer. So when we go through, you know, each of your answer, make sure that you tell me what you answer. I know I asked you quite a bit of question, but bear with me. Toward the end, you know, everything is gonna make sense. So what do you do when you see the cup? What do you do with the cup when you see it?
I pick it up, put it on the table.
Okay, you put it on the table. Okay, so that's your reaction when you see the cup. Now you decide to walk toward the back door, okay, and you leave out the back door. So when you get out of the house, you see a garden, right? You continue to walk toward the end of the garden, and you find yourself at a body of water. What kind of body of water did you see? You understand what a body of water, right?
I see a river.
See a river, okay. Now, here's one other thing. You know that your house is across from the river. You must cross this river. So how do you plan to cross the river? What do you do to cross it?
My boat.
Okay, you're gonna make a boat, or you find a boat nearby, right? To get across the river. Okay, which is smart. You know, you don't want to get yourself wet. Okay, so that's it for the psychology test. And now this is the time for me to interpret your answer. So my first question is, when you put yourself in a situation where you are scared. Now, you know, when you're in a middle of nowhere in the jungle, right, at night, the person that you see to your right is the person that you trust the most, okay? And most people that I heard, you know, let me tell you some backstory so you know how to interpret this type of question. If you see like your husband or your father, right, or your mother, they are the people that most important in your life, and you trust them the most. Okay. There's one time I heard I hear an answer from this lady, and she told me that she see nobody, she see nothing. Or this another girl told me that she see a ghost. That means that person actually don't trust anybody. And the person who see a ghost next to them is very scary. This person have a very dark past. Maybe something happened to them in the past that they don't trust people anymore, right? So it's gonna be, if you hear people answer that, you know, they don't see anybody, that means they don't trust anybody. Or if they see like a ghost next to them, that means, this is my own interpretation, and you don't see, you won't find these answers, because most of the answer actually come from a psychology test. But my answer is based on my own experience of asking these questions. So it's going to be a little bit different. I'm telling you, and this is going to be more applicable to the people that you ask, because I checked it. So for this test subject, and she said that she see an animal, which is very interesting. Maybe she think this test is like a joke or something. That's why she, you know, she see an elephant, is it a tiger next to you? Is that right? Okay. I mean, maybe at this point, you know, when you answer the question, you know, you thought this test was just like a joke. You know, you're not really put yourself in that situation. So it doesn't say anything about you. It doesn't say that you don't trust anybody. It just means that you think it's a, you know, it's a fun thing. Is, you know. Okay. Anyhow, go to the next question. Is the animal that you see, right? So what animal did you see?
Elephant.
You see an elephant. The size of this animal represents your problem. And the bigger the animal is, the bigger your problem, right? So if you see an elephant, that means you have a big problem. I don't know what it is, but maybe, you know. Some people, they see a tiger, right? Some people see a bird, you know, which is small. That means they have a small problem. They don't worry about anything. Most of the time, when you ask this question to a little kid, it won't applicable. Like I have a cousin, right? They ask them, you know, most of the time they will see a tiger, they see an elephant or something, but it's not applicable. They don't have big problem, right? But if you're asking like someone, you know, who already, you know, going through college, you know, 20 something or 30 something, usually that very true. The animal that they see usually tiger or an elephant or, you know, some kind of like dangerous animal. Usually I hear that, you know. So for you, you see an elephant, which is a big animal, is a big problem, right? But the important thing is how you react. And for you, your reaction is doing nothing, right? So some people would try to fight with the animal. Their first instinct to fight. That means that person is very aggressive. If the person have no reaction, most of the time that person is very passive. Or the problem that that person has might not be, you know, or that person never want to deal with the problem in the first place. So in your case, you know, your reaction is do nothing. That means you don't want to deal with the problem right now. You just want to push it aside, right? Some people want to jump onto the elephant, or some people jump onto the tiger or fight the tiger. That means those people are aggressive. They want to face the problem head on. They don't want to let the problem come to them. And some people, they just like, you know, frozen, you know, they scare. Or they just ignore it. That means you are kind of passive. You don't want to deal with your problem. So the next thing is you continue to walk deeper into the forest, right? And you see a place where people live. And what you answer for that? What do you see?
I see a big house.
You see a big house, right? So the house here represents your dream, your ambition. The bigger the house, represent you know, a bigger dream, right? And smaller house means small dream. Now keep in mind that you know, bigger dream or small dream is, you have to interpret it in a different way. You know, for some people, you know, like if they want to become like you know, a business owner or something like that, right? It might not be considered a big dream. You know, for them might be a big dream, but consider in a bigger sense, you know, I would say, you know, big dream mean what? You want to be very successful, right? You want to be like, I want to be a millionaire, I want a billionaire or something like that, right? But if someone, you know, like, you just see a small house, right? They have a small dream, but they tell you that, oh, they want to be like a business owner, which is kind of a big dream. But technically, if you dig deep into it, you know, business owner is just a very general answer, you know, right? It does not necessarily mean it's a big dream. So when you interpret that type of question, make sure that you look into the answer and see, you know, is that what that person want to do? Is that something that near impossible and very low chance of happening? You know, if that's the case, then usually they have a very big dreams. And whether or not the house have the fence around it, mean that if there's a fence around it, that means you kind of like a closed person. You don't open yourself up. If there's no fence around the house, that means you are very open mind. You easy to make friend. And I think it's very true as well. I would say like 80% of the time, when people say that they see a fence, it's likely that they kind of like introvert. They don't want to, they don't like to hang out with other people. Not necessarily like, they are like, I don't think that's bad or anything. It's just personality wise, some people don't see anything. That mean they're very open, very easy to make friends, very outgoing. So what's the next thing after that? Do you remember?
Saw a table upstairs.
Right, you get into the house, right? And you walk up the stair and you see a table to your left. What's on the table represent your current state of mind, right? So if you see people, if you see flower, you see fruit on the table, that means you are very happy at the moment. What do you see again?
I see nothing.
You see nothing. You're right. If you see nothing, if you see candle, it means that you're not very happy at this moment, right? It's just saying that you're not in a happy state at this moment when you answer the question. I'm not saying that person is always unhappy. You know what I mean? So the next thing is when you see the cup on the floor, right? The cup here in psychology, it represents what a cup is made of here represent the relationship. So some people, they'll see a cup made of crystal, glass or something like that. Something is fragile. That means the relationship of the person that they answer in the first question, like with their brother or their husband or whatever in the first question, it's very fragile. Or it could be relationship in general. If it could be boyfriend, girlfriend, or father with their parents. If it's made of something breakable, that means their relationship is fragile. That means it's easy to break. But I think it's more important is your reaction or what you do when you see the cup. So for your answer is, what is your cup made of? Made of metal, right? That means it's very strong. Whatever the relationship that you have is very strong. But I think that you have a relationship with a tiger. So you have a strong relationship with a tiger there. Anyhow, you decide to put the cup on the table, right? So when you put the cup on the table, it means that you want to protect that relationship. Some people, I hear maybe 50% of the time, people either ignore the cup, just continue to walk past, the cup and go toward the house. Some people like willing to like just kick the cup. That's very dangerous because if the cup is made of crystal or something fragile and you kick the cup, that means you don't really care about a relationship. You don't give a shit about it. You know what I mean? But if it's made of plastic or something like that, it means it's more durable, right? Your relationship is durable. But still, if you don't protect it and you kick it, that means there's higher chance of this, you're gonna break the cup for some way, somehow, right? In your case, do you put it on the table or what do you do to the cup?
I pick it up.
Right, you put it on the table. That means you're trying to protect the cup so that other people cannot come by and they kick on the cup or something, by accident. So that's a good thing, you're trying to protect your relationship. If you hear people answer like they don't do anything to the cup, that means maybe they don't worry too much about the relationship with whoever that person in the first question, or they don't want to protect it. Like for them, easy come, easy go. They don't care, right? And if I break up with my boyfriend, that's fine. I move on to the next one, right? I don't care too much. But if some people are saying that they put the cup on the table, that means that person put a lot of effort into the relationship and they don't want to protect it. They don't want to lose that person they love the most, okay? Now, when you walk to the back of the house and you leave out the back door, right? So you see a garden and you walk to the end of the garden, you see a body of water, right? What do you see again? A river. Okay, so this is the interesting question because the body of water represents your sex drive. Okay, so so that's a part of the psychology test. They're gonna throw you up with that kind of question. If you see something like a pond or something like a small body of water, that means you don't have a strong sex drive, right? But if you see like you see a lake, right? It's kind of big. Right? If you see like an ocean, a very strong sex drive, right? I have a cousin, right? And she was like 12 years old or something, and she see like an ocean. So I don't want to tell her the answer, so kind of weird. So I think it's true as well. Check it with your significant other. So whether they see a pond or they see a river or see an ocean, right? It tells you something about a sex drive. Make sure you ask that question before you get married. Anyhow, how you plan to cross that river, it tell you about how careful you are. If you get your feet wet or get yourself wet, that means you are not careful, right? So some people that would try to swim across whatever the body of water or walk across it, they're gonna get themselves wet, and that person will rush into things, maybe rush into a relationship, or they'll have one night stand or something like that. Like they don't care too much, right? And they act by their they just react by their nature, and they don't hold back. If you take a boat, right, like what you say, you take a boat, right? That means you're patient, right? You don't want to get yourself wet, or you make a bridge, or you go through a bridge or something like that. Some way, somehow, you build a bridge to get through it. That means you're a very patient person. You don't want to rush into anything. You don't want to rush into any relationship. You're careful, right? So yeah, I think that's it for the psychology test. I think you can try this one with your friend, family. I think it's very fun, especially if you want to go on a date, and you can ask the question for your date, and you're gonna be surprised, because most of the time these answers actually tell you something about that person. And most of the female friend I have that enjoy this type of question. One thing though, some of the answer is very, very interesting, and it throw you off. Let me tell you a story. I have this one friend, right? He's a guy, and when I asked him the question about what the area where people live and what he see, right? I thought he would see like a cottage or something, like a house, right? He told me that he see nothing. He's only see fire. And my interpretation is this: you have no dream. When you have no house, you don't see any house. You don't, I mean, the house represents your dream, right? If you don't see any house, that means you have no dream. You have no ambition, right? And that person only see fire. So I tell him, you probably don't want anything in life. You don't have any ambition. And guess what? That person now become a monk. He become a monk. Right? I mean, that's the truth. So that story like that. And I told you that one person who told me that she see a ghost next to her. Although it sounds like a joke, but this person have a very dark past. And I know that there's I think I heard it twice, that two people told me that they see a ghost next to them. It's not a joke. They actually have very dark past. They don't trust anybody. And you might ask that person, hey, something happened in your past, and you might be surprised at what you hear. And then I think the cup is also very interesting, because the cup is tell you about your relationship with boyfriend or girlfriend or something, and how most of the time I hear people just like, because they come into a house, like a strange a random house, they don't want to touch anything, they just ignore it. Which is fine, but for the most part, if you don't do anything to the cup, that means you kind of like, don't care too much about a relationship. You don't want to like put too much effort in a relationship. So that's kind of thing. And the animal is very true as well. You see big animal most of the time when we are kind of like in the 30 or 40. Most of the time, I see people saying they see like a tiger, or they see something really big. But if they see something like a bird, right? That means that person probably don't have any big problem they have to deal with. Yeah, and the body of water is funny at the end. People enjoyed it. When they talk about sex drive and that kind of thing, and when you ask a young kid, and they told me some weird thing, like they see an ocean or they try to cross it by swimming across, right? So I'm kind of afraid of answer that, interpreted that to them. Yeah, it's kind of fun psychology test. You guys can watch this and tell your friend. But keep in mind, this test is quite long, so make sure that you tell them up front. And most of the time, they're going to ask you, hey, what is your answer to those questions? So make sure you prepare. You got to tell them the story, the backstory. Okay, guys, so let me know if you guys try this psychology test with your friend, and what is the surprising answer that you guys see. Maybe I can see if I can interpret it. Because this test, you can find it online, but I think the answer is very short. it won't be that detailed that I tell you, because it's come from my own experience. I asked some people that I know, and I know something about them a little bit already. So I kind of like, when I see the answer, that kind of like check back with what I already know about them. So now my answer will be more accurate when I ask the next person. All right, guys, that's it for this Thursday. See you guys next week.